Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Dior, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 14. Alright, so our opponent here is someone I can't pronounce, and the box is kind of interesting. Faces we don't see too often. We got Weiler here, we got Lanford, Omega, SP Altamuller, one of the KA names, Kagura or Kayura or one of those types. And then we also have Clotaire here. The Clotaire is not usually that uncommon if it's an AoE box, but this box is a little bit more mixed. It does have 2 tanks, it looks like. Let's see, there was Landius and Hilda? Yeah, Landius and Hilda. And then we have, we do also have some pseudo physical tanks around, but besides that, we also have 3 healers. Yeah, technically 3 healers. So to be honest, I could have banned a healer and then tried to force them to pick either a tank or a healer, but that's not really my big concern. I got rid of Langrisser because his aura could be very detrimental to my build, since I do a lot of AoE ranged attacks and things like that. So, got rid of Langrisser. No updates to the box. Just been trying to get enchants up for Karika. Lost the Awakened. They grabbed Hilda as their first pick. Go ahead and get rid of both Clotaire and SP Leon. Mainly because I was in fear of them just banning Rose and CL and then making my life hell. So with that, the rest of the stuff, there is some AoE, but not much for me to actually worry too much about. So went ahead and grab Karika and see if I can make this first pick Karika play work. They start banning my DPS. Grabs Omega. Go ahead and get rid of their Act Again. Get rid of their extra mobility. Get rid of potential mass attacks. Pretty much a lot of things that can actually generic buff people. Go ahead and grab Ashumere. They're banning more of my DPS. You can get the theme here. So at this point, I literally have no DPS left. It is just healers and tanks, which is kind of the best situation to be in, to be honest. Yeah, 4 tanks, 4 healers. Yeah, I have free reign to pick whatever I want. Ashumere and Karika are both Princess faction, so I can safely grab Christiane and have buff coverage, as well as the additional faction buff extra damage as well. They grab Rose and Seal, which isn't too big of a deal. If I don't one-shot these guys, I'm going to die, because Omega will just snipe us. So with that in mind, that's kind of my thought process here. So go ahead and get rid of Grinshield, get rid of their teleport. Go ahead and grab Christiane at this point. They banned my Act Agains, which is probably smart. I was tempted to grab an Act Again, but it's not really necessary at this point. They have a tank, which means they could probably just box up and make sure they don't have anyone in the front for Karika to snipe. They picked Weiler. I was actually a little surprised about this. I wasn't really sure what the idea here was. You already had Rose and Seal. I guess my only guess is they're concerned about AoE damage, maybe. But even then, Rose and Seal by herself with Crystal Healing could probably mitigate that. So I don't know what the point of Weiler is. My only thought would be Weiler. I think Weiler does get Mass Attack, which can buff Omega. So I think that was the intention, but I'm not sure. So at this point, I go ahead and get rid of Lanford, get rid of Altamuller. I don't remember what factions Omega is. I think it's like Strategic, Meteor, and Dark, but I'm not entirely certain, and I'm not going to look it up. So if that's the case, both these characters do have Strategic faction buff. Lanford also has this weird aura that also provides a buff, though I'm not sure how effective that will be for Omega, due to him usually running up ahead and being outside the aura range. This leaves... oh yeah, Knight of Mystery here, by the way. Both of these I'm not that concerned about. I have Christiane, which means I'm going to be mitigating a lot of magic damage already. They both have really either long legs or long range, so it could be a little annoying, but it's not the end of the world, so I'm actually okay with either of these two. Technically, Kayura, or whatever her name is, can buff people with her cards, but the card buffs are randomized. So at this point, go ahead and grab Frozen Seal. This will also further mitigate any potential AoE damage. It also gives me access to Miracle, which is extra damage. And I guess technically extra defense, or damage mitigation if I do get assassinated. Also, they let me have Hilda, so I went ahead and grabbed her since she can negate crits. Kaguya is her name. The other KA name. Alright, so yeah, here's Weiler. You might not know he ever existed, depending on when you started playing this game. His gimmick is anytime he uses a support skill, which is essentially, I think, heals and buffs, he has increased range with it, which is pretty awesome. Means he can stand pretty far back and still support people. Also, his soldier stats are increased, which just makes him a little bulkier. When he dies, he dispels buffs from everyone, or debuffs from everyone, and then grants them Desperate Prayer, which essentially makes it so before combat they get healed for a ton before combat. Weiler used to be kind of dangerous simply because in a standard tank push type stuff, like there's so much passive healing that you have a lot of trouble just crushing anything. His 3C makes it so he loses all but essentially one of his HP, and then he gives a damage. He essentially gives us a sort of a miracle buff. This essentially activates. It also gives what do you call it? Yeah, it triggers the talent. So this is a way for him to give that passive healing buff without having to die. This of course makes him vulnerable. It also has a 15 turn cooldown, so it's kind of a one-shot. He also has his own Act Again, which only works if the target has no troops left, which is not an issue here. It is a powerful heal and it has really long range, but other than that, not a big deal. Mass healing, of course, is what you expect. He has Shrine Maidens. Risen Seal here went all heals. We got Omega here. He's pretty annoying. He has increased crit chance. He'll teleport back whenever he's dealing with all sorts of nonsense. He has Surprise Attack, which makes it so if he has 3 times the skill of somebody, he could directly damage the hero. He can also ignore Guard if he's 2 times higher skill, which is pretty much everybody. Okay, he's not actually 3 times against, at least with the current stats, it's not 3 times against Ashumere. Karika is actually kind of safe. I'm actually surprised. Yeah, Karika's skill is so high that she can't actually be easily one-shotted by Omega. I didn't realize that. I mean, still, things like fixed damage and stuff will still do some things to Shrine Maidens, so it is that. There's that. We got Hilda here with Templar Knights, standard buffs. Kaguya here has Firebrand Snipers, but really probably the thing that stands out is the Arcane Blast, which can do extra damage against mages and holy. With her card mechanics, she can give herself extra range, so she can definitely be kind of dangerous. Besides that, she does have the exclusive, so she did start with some extra cards, which helps her out quite a bit. Nothing to really say here. Hilda, I have brought Phalanxes, and then standard tanking stuff, and faction buff. Karika, Shrine Maidens with all of her exclusives. Christian, standard Christian with Phalanxes. I'm not really concerned about being nuked by Kaguya. It's really just Omega is the real threat. And Omega only has like 9k HP, so if I can get my line of sight on him with Karika, he's dead. Also, I don't think they have a faction buff for him. Ashumere here. I did bring Ice Dragon Breath just in case we need some extra AoE to try to just finish something off. But for the most part, she is just here to buff Karika. Resin Seal here, Shrine Maidens and heals. There you go. Sorry for taking so long. Let's get into this. So, pushing forward, no surprises here. I also push forward, and I actually put up a dominating formation to mitigate the act again and move agains. I don't know what the plan here exactly was, but yeah, kind of, he just boot. Oh, I think I see what he did. So my opponent went on the card, and then used Cold Blood just to stack more cards onto Kaguya here. Omega's cooldowns are ridiculous. He can pretty much cycle through his cooldowns very quickly. Both Lone Shadow and Cold Blood have Act Again, Move Again mechanics to them. So he can just cycle through his cooldowns like instantly. And then Cold Blood does give him... Oh, it doesn't. Okay, he doesn't actually have a way of buffing his skill. That's good. Okay, cool. Then my casters are actually more safe than I thought they were. Okay. Obviously, the biggest danger here is Omega. He can get extra range with Lone Shadow. Both Cold Blood and Lone Shadow allows him to move 2 extra spaces. So essentially, he can get to like here and then like nuke all the way to here. Like it's ridiculous. So for right now, I go ahead and just teleport up, get my 6 stacks, get my extra damage. I go ahead and get set up here, get my dance partner. So my opponent kept Omega behind Hilda, so there's not really an easy... It might be possible for me to nuke Omega, because his HP is just really low. But I didn't want to risk it. Yeah, if I was to nuke him, I would have to use my Shiguri, which might still be possible, but I'm not sure. So, like I said, I didn't want to risk it. Besides that, yeah, as you can see, my opponent's moving aggressively forward. While I did go ahead and put up high stakes, I could have done an AoE next round and immediately kill him, but I'm not that concerned about it. Honestly, it's not going to do much. One thing that did get applied, I think this might have got applied by the cards, but Omega did get a plus damage buff. Beyond that, though, not really much to say. So, go ahead and just shift it down here. So, Crystal Restoration heals him back up. Even now, he's still within AoE kill range, but I don't care about Weiler. Kaguya's just got a Tenyu proc for Breeze. So at this point, she can close in and start blasting us, and I really don't want that to happen. She doesn't have a buff either. That's kind of crazy. Alright, in any case, right now I have 1962 attack. This is mostly because of the dance partner, which gives me an extra 15% stats. She has plus damage dealt from the Miracle. The Miracle did overlap the Tsubame Otoshi. And then the final thing here is if she's diagonal, she gets an additional 5% attack and int. So with all that in mind, her overall attack is going to be kind of ridiculous here. So, opponent decides to go ahead and push forward with Crystal Reward, being super aggressive here. Wanting to take the center, and I'm completely fine with my opponent taking the center because I don't need it. Alright, so really, if I'm going to be using my 3C, my only targets are Rose and Seal, who can self-res, and has currently damage reduction, I think, from the crystal. Kaguya here, who doesn't have any other buffs besides reduced damage taken, which my Miracle pretty much cancels out. So, as long as I do about around 20s, you can say 28,000 damage, I will instantly kill Kaguya with AoE damage. And how much do I do? 36,900 damage with 3C. That's a 0.6 times AoE. And yeah, just flat out wrecks her. And remember, Karika here is at 5 stars, so I don't even have the max attack buff right now. So once she gets to 6 stars, this gets even crazier. And you can guess what this could do to Omega, who has far less HP. One thing that did happen, though, is Hilda did move up and overlapped my terrain here. So the sinkholes here are now belonging to my opponent, which means Omega can now act again across it if necessary. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I need to do something about Omega. So for right now, I went ahead and just pushed up, just to try to take up space and block him. Got faction buff up on Hilda here. Getting hit by Weiler didn't really do much. It's magic damage, so it does wreck my phalanx a bit.
And at this point, I'm kind of just pushing people forward just to kind of try to block Omega as much as I can. So my opponent went ahead and did Lone Shadow. And just decided to go ahead and shoot here. So skill was high enough that it attacked my attack Hilda directly. But Hilda's defense is, you know, over 1,000 versus his only 1,100 attack. So his Shinobi literally did nothing, and then Omega himself only did a little bit of damage. And then, of course, you know, damage reduction, all that kicked in. Also, I negated his crit. So yeah, with all that, he literally couldn't do much. He did get a breeze proc here, so pretty much at this point, I can't really stop him. He can loop around to pretty much everywhere and just attack anyone at this point. Also, you can see with the cooldowns here, Cold Blood's already back, so Cold Blood will make Lone Shadow active, and then he can just do his snipe again. So for right now, I just go ahead and just hang back a bit. The one thing that's really annoying is when he does a kill, he can teleport back to his original position, which is what makes him so dangerous. So for right now, I went and fell back. I went ahead and went adjacent to Kurika. This gives her, essentially, instead of plus attack, it gives, I think, 5%. Yeah, it gives 5% defense and magic defense, just to make her a little bulkier. The other thing to note is I do have the exclusive for Ashumere, and what that does is while you have a dance partner, both dance participants will have immunity to a random debuff. So in this case, it was immunity to silence this round. For her, it's immunity to fixed damage, which is actually pretty significant for some of these characters, because immunity to fixed damage means no Shrine Maidens, or it means no negating the Shrine Maidens, rather. Alright, so Cold Blood. It's going to shift up. Do Lone Shadow next. Cycle through everything. Yeah. Okay, so he has 3 range with his ability. So now he can move up and just attack, I guess? I guess that's what it does. Alright, well. Targets are either Rosensteel or Ashumere, or my tanks. Ends up going for Ashumere. Ashumere has extended range while she has a dance partner, so I was actually able to counterattack. And Omega doesn't actually have first strike. So yeah, just flat out killed him. Really smooth fight. I was expecting some issues with Omega, but once I saw his stats, I was far less concerned. Also, I realized he didn't actually have any buffs for him. I'm fairly certain Weiler has access to mass attack. So honestly, he could have done that, and that at least gave him something. Problem is he was also cycling turns so much that the buff probably would not have lasted, is the problem. Because yeah, mass attack only lasts for 2 turns, so if his plan was to take advantage of both those move agains, he would run out of buff by the time he actually reaches the opponent. I thought his 3C like swapped to a different attack like once you activate it, but apparently that's not the case. So he was just doing normal attacks, which can be pretty powerful if you're able to just attack just the general or the hero. But yeah, that was not the case. He did not do very much damage. I did more counterattack damage than he did the entire combat, which is pretty amazing. Got to see Kurika. Yeah, 36,900 damage. That means I can pretty much kill anything that's around 18,000 HP, which is not too shabby. I mean, obviously you have to take into account damage reduction and defense and stuff, but yeah, that was... I'm very impressed, and I look forward to when I actually get her to 6 stars, which won't be for a while. Anyway, that is it for right now. I did get robbed here, unfortunately. I am literally 3 points away from gold 2. So I'll have one more chance to get to gold 2 before the point race is done, which is fine. I've been so busy these past few weeks anyway, so definitely look forward to the next season where I get to mess with Kurika even more, and hopefully she'll be 6 stars at that point. Besides that, not much else has been going on. There's the freaking guild
expedition nonsense, which I practically forgot about. And there's also the whole collab event that's also currently active. So all that's been keeping things going. So until then, I am The Depressed Dealer. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 14. I'll see you guys later.